How's it, folks? Today we're going to talk about Everspace 2, a space looter shooter that has just released its full version after 2 years in early access. If you're new to the game, don't worry, we've got you covered with 10 beginner tips that will help you get started. There will be chapter marks if you wish to watch a specific tip. Otherwise, the first few are mainly focused on combat, as that is where the majority of the focus and fun of the game will be. First, we'll start out with general combat tips. So to start off with, if you notice the white bar on the right side of the reticule, that is the energy of your currently equipped weapon. And if you deplete it, you can swap it to the next one, which should have a full bar and allow you to keep firing. I also personally prefer having at least one long-range weapon like the flak cannon or coil gun to outrange most of my enemies. Your secondary weapons such as missiles and mines are useful to fill in any deficiencies in your loadout. For example, using EMP missiles to take out an enemy shield before blasting them with your scatter blaster, which acts like a sort of shotgun. Next up is tip number 9, devices and abilities. Your starter ship starts with an EMP and a boost, and you will unlock more as you progress and discover more loot. The EMP is a very effective crowd control ability that stuns nearby enemies for a few seconds, which helps to even the playing field while being swarmed, as there will be a number of times you'll be significantly outnumbered, and the EMP will allow you to take out some of the peskier enemies. I genuinely try to take advantage of that brief respite to take out the weaker enemies, and then focus on the stronger one after the EMP wore off. The devices come in two main categories. The red icon ones require enemies to be targeted, while the green icon ones like the boost may be used at any time. Don't forget to use your ultimate ability as well, as not only do they generally look cool, they can turn a fight around when outmatched. Going on to tip number 8, weapon types. There are currently 10 weapon types in the game with various pros and cons for each. I would recommend trying each of them out, as multiple different playstyles are possible depending on how you mix and match them. I personally like to use the flak cannon for one of my primary weapon slots, as although on paper they have low weapon damage and a slow rate of fire, each projectile hits hard and does splash damage, so it's possible to take out a group of enemies before they even get into your range, or even attacking turrets on larger ships like the frigate will explode and damage the ship as well. And if you manage to get a flak cannon with bonus to mining resource modifier, then keep it, if only for mining, as it allows to mine the resource nodes with one hit from the cannon. Which brings me on to tip number 7, weapon tiers. There are currently 4 weapon tiers in the game, ranging from white common to green uncommon to blue rare and red superior. Weapon rarity gain increased perks with none in uncommon, 1 common, 2 rare and 3 perks for superior. These perks are randomly generated and will be part of the endgame to get a great synergy between your equipment. On top of the tiers, there are also legendary variants, but that is for later in the game. There are also set pieces that provide extra bonuses when the set is equipped, so keep an eye out for those. Next up is one of my favorite parts of the game, exploration, for number 6. Things only show up in your HUD when they are within sensor range. Sensors have different ranges for ships, loot and resources. You might have to fly around to get within sensor range of things for them to appear on your HUD. Make sure you explore the maps. Exploration is rewarded in this game with rare loot and resources hidden behind shields or solid rock walls, inside asteroids, etc. I would recommend doing them as you come across them, as they will give you a boost up, and you may even find a cool new weapon to try out. Adding on to that, shoot everything that looks like it might blow up, like anything that could be holding water or fuel or gas or whatever. These can blow up into materials that can be used in crafting or your companion perks like scrap metal. Also, you can shoot creatures for biomaterials that can also be useful. If in doubt, shoot it. After some time, you'll know what will blow up and what won't. Which brings me on to tip number 5, cargo. This is a short one, but I would recommend getting a cargo unit as soon as possible, as it allows you to dismantle what is in your inventory. Dismantling allows you to not only get crafting materials, it will also allow you to start unlocking the crafting blueprints of whatever you have dismantled. So even if you have to buy one, the sooner you get a cargo unit, the easier you'll have it later on. Which brings me on to the next point, crafting at number 4. As you explore and loot more, you'll start to come across blueprints. Crafting will require resources you can find mining, dismantling unused equipment, or as a reward from completing puzzles or as loot from enemies you have defeated. It is possible to upgrade your gear to your current level if you have a weapon or luck, although I wouldn't recommend it in the beginning as you level up fairly quickly and will keep coming across new gear. I would also recommend not to waste resources and only upgrade the weapons or maybe the energy core at least until the last level when you want to craft superior equipment. Although you should try to keep your weapons at least within 2 levels of yourself. Also in the beginning I would recommend using the resources on getting companion perks as they last throughout your game, rather than a situational weapon that you could out-level in only a bit of playing. Moving on to tip number 3, which is trading. As you explore and loot enemies, you'll come across commodities which can earn you a tidy sum of credits. With the recent update, you can now see if the commodities are worth selling or keeping for later. There will be a little bar on the commodities showing their worth, with red meaning not worth selling, to orange which will get you a sort of average price, to green which will turn you a tidy profit. At least in the beginning when you start out, you will most likely come across common commodities which you might as well sell off. But you do have the option if you want to sell everything for a massive sum lump if you use your storage facility at your home base to stack them all up. But I would still recommend selling the common commodities as you come across them, as they aren't really worth keeping and the credits earned are much more worth it in the beginning of the game. Almost there with number 2 being the Mainframe Expansion. You will usually come across these as a puzzle or mission rewards. 3 of them will get you a Mainframe Expansion which can be used to upgrade one of the stats of your ship. There is no real need to hold onto them and you should use them as you acquire them, as you have the option to remove or add onto whichever stat you need the most. They are worth looking out for as the stat increases are a consistent way to increase your own power. And finally, the last one has to do with the various ship types. The full explanation will require a lengthy video on its own, so I'm just going to give a brief overview here. There are 3 categories with 4 tiers. The 3 categories are light, medium and heavy, with the light ships focused more on speed and maneuverability but sacrificing health and armor, with heavier ships on the opposite end of the scale and medium in between. You will be able to purchase ships of varying tiers once you have progressed a little through the story, as the NPC mentions looking through their shipyard when you encounter them. Be prepared to spend a large amount of credits though. And before we leave off, I want to give you guys 2 bonus tips. Leveling up is fairly straightforward in this game and each level incrementally increases your stats until you reach the max level of 30. One thing I wanted to bring to attention by mentioning this is that once you level up, you are fully healed and your shield automatically recharges. So if you position it right, you can heal yourself back up to full if you're in the middle of a hectic fight. Or if you're going to hand in a mission that will send you to the next level, then don't bother wasting credits at the station or even using some nanobots, as the level up will take care of that for you. And the very last bonus tip, setting off Inertia dampeners by binding a hotkey in the menu will allow you to keep drifting in the last directional input, and is something I would recommend doing before starting the game. Personally, I've had more fun with them off. If you start struggling with some puzzles in tight corridors, then you can always turn them back on for that. Otherwise, I hope you all enjoy your space adventure and I would appreciate any feedback. Take care and cheers for now.